Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this LinkedIn Live. My name is Matt Hames, and I'm the Associate Vice President for Digital and Social Strategy at 3 Enrollment Marketing. We're here today to talk about the Institute of Higher Education. It's happening June 4th to 8th in Clearwater Beach, Florida. It is an opportunity for higher education professionals to advance their career, but also to get together and collaborate. Today, I'm really proud to be joined by Chris Ferguson. I'm going to let him introduce himself. Chris, why don't you introduce yourself to everybody?
All right. Hi. Thanks, Matt. Hi, everyone. My name is Chris Ferguson. I'm the Vice President for Enrollment Strategy at University of the Pacific and also a co-founder of the Institute for Strategic Enrollment Management with Patricia Maven at 3 Enrollment.
Yeah, and the Institute for Strategic Management is part of the Institute for Higher Education. Um, Chris, before we get into this, we're in the middle of an enrollment cycle. So tell us a little bit why a student should attend the University of the Pacific.
Oh, thanks, Matt. For lots of reasons, we're in the thick of yield season right now too.
Yeah, right.
Releasing the final decisions and spending a lot of time with families and admitted students. Just as an FYI, I was in LA on Saturday, flew back up to
Yeah,
Northern California, which is where Pacific is, and met with a lot of families in Santa Clara as well. And so it's really all about we're in the great place of Northern California. We are kind of the larger set of what you would think of as a small liberal arts college with the choices of a big university. And
oh,
so
nice.
students are able to take courses across disciplines and still graduate in 4 years while they're working on their specific major. We're also
Wow, that's
unique
awesome.
in that our School of Engineering and Computer Science has a co-op program. Our business college, our business school, Eberhard School of Business, also requires internships for our students, and several other students throughout the university have great internship opportunities. So our connection to the workforce, blending the liberal arts with the professional programs is really, there's not very many institutions like us in the state of California. We have
That's awesome.
accelerated. I know I keep going. I'm sorry, I'm not pausing for you, but
It's okay.
yeah. We have accelerated degree programs, which are really popular, like a pre-dental program and a pre-pharmacy program, a pre-law program,
Wow.
pre-health advising. So it connects to our undergraduate program connects very closely to a lot of our graduate programs.
Well, I have a high school junior right now, so we're in the throes of looking at schools, and we've
As do
digitized our
I.
school a little bit.
Very cool. Yeah. My youngest is a high school junior as well. And
Yeah.
then just lastly, I think one of the things that struck me when I came to Pacific, just asking lots of students what their favorite thing is about University of the Pacific, after why they chose to come here. It's 9 out of 10 talk about the relationships that they develop with their faculty, and that's
Nice.
where I think for us it's very distinct, very similar to other
Yeah.
small liberal arts colleges, where that type of access and relationship is real and what motivates students to continue their education and sets them up well to connect to the workforce too. It's that personalized touch, and faculty
Yeah.
really get to know the students well and vice versa.
Nice. I mean, one of my favorite things is to listen to enrollment professionals talk about their school. It's such an important thing. It's also an
Yeah.
important thing for enrollment professionals to get together and talk about how they talk about their schools. So before we start talking about the Institute for Higher Education, can you tell us a little bit about what was Snowmass?
Yeah, so the Snowmass Institute was around, to my knowledge, for about 30 years. It was a week-long institute in Snowmass, Colorado. That the time that I went there was managed by a practitioner faculty member named Joe Morante. And Joe Morante really organized other faculty, which were practitioners in the field, other enrollment managers, trying to help train the next generation of enrollment managers and
Nice.
offer, really lots of different types of strategic tactics that are designed to help each of us learn more about how to kind of adapt and build a strategic enrollment management plan that fits within the uniqueness and the distinctness of the institutions in which we worked at. It became, I feel like I became fairly addicted to it in its final years. The Institute really became my mentor
Yeah.
And then Joe was really my mentor, whether he knew it or not at the time. And so the Institute for me was a way for me to do an analysis of the previous year's work, lead the Institute with next year's plan, and really positioned me well at a time where there wasn't a whole lot of strategic enrollment management planning where I was working, to engage the rest of the community with really the nuts and bolts of a holistic plan, and then you take it back to campus and adapt it,
Yeah.
to what the needs are, at that time, and then always thinking about 3 to 5 years out in advance.
Right. So at Snowmass, you walked out of Snowmass with a plan. Like
Yeah,
the
I think
attendees walked out
well,
with a plan.
yeah, that was really up to I think up to the attendee. And so I brought my plan, took the time, the week that we were at Snowmass with other enrollment managers and the faculty to review that plan and come back with a fresh plan. But the Institute didn't give you a plan. I think part of
Gotcha.
their purpose was to make sure that you had the tools in order to build your plan. I
Right.
think, and then as I connected more with other attendees, everyone's like wanted a plan, and
Yeah.
so for our Institute of Strategic Enrollment Management, that Patricia and I co-founded, and then of course Three Enrollment made it a reality. Part of what we wanted to do is share a general template that I built over the years, and so that the attendees actually leave with a template of a plan that should be easily adaptable to the institutions in which they're at. And already after the first 2 years, I've got some colleagues who I've met there who have shared their versions of the plan, which is, I know has been an asset, for them.
Yeah. So it's just so you know, because I've had the privilege of attending a couple of these. Chris walks through what a plan is over the course of 3 days, and if you look at the agendas at the institute website, which is just right underneath here, institutehe.org, you can see that getting a plan is part of the thing that you'll get when you go to the Institute for Strategic Enrollment Management. So yeah, um, a plan is important, but Chris, can you talk a little bit about how important mentorship is in our industry? Like you talked about how Snowmass was your mentor, but specifically, how do you think how do you think we can do mentorship in the industry right now?
Sure. So I'll go back. So I think the Snowmass Institute ended, um, gosh, I want to say 2007-ish. No, not
Yeah.
that. I don't know, somewhere, maybe in the early 2010s, and after it ended, it was hard for me in particular to find other types of week long institutes where we were all in the same sessions together and getting to know other colleagues and so on and so forth. And what built after that is just this acute awareness, at the institutions I was working at, how people didn't really want to be vice presidents for enrollment because of how stressful and how quickly the
Yeah.
landscape of higher education competition in particular was getting. And so a lot of the conversations I had with Patricia and other colleagues over the years is really how can we bring back something like this institute and then offer other leaders the opportunity to mentor up and coming
Yeah.
leaders, maybe directors, other vice presidents who might not have, a suite of mentors, to really work together and stay connected over the years. So it was an intentional priority for us to actually have current practitioners who are willing to mentor participants for at least a year. And I tell you, it's even if you're not, so we assign people, who have
Yeah.
agreed to do that, from the participants list. But what I've found out is we all kind of become each other's mentors, and
Yeah.
regardless of who you're specifically assigned to, over the course of the time. And so I think that it's done, its purpose by helping people understand that there's a lot of competition, things are changing quickly, but it's also a very exciting, important field to be in for us to work together to be more intentional about helping students and families in particular choose the
Yeah.
institution that's best for them. So it's all really grounded in that that type of mission that most of us are driven to in this field. And so to have others who are successful and, not, who have had failures and have learned from them and made changes. And so, for us to really share those stories and collaborate is a big part of I think, the takeaway of this type of institute.
So a lot of times you hear like you sort of promise a mentor, like if you go to this, you promise a mentor, you're promised a
Right.
mentor. In your experience, this being the third year of the institute, is that promise is a reality?
Promise is a reality, and it's really up to the participants, and so
Yeah,
it's, some people want that mentorship. Others just want, check-ins from time to time. So
yeah, gotcha.
it's a reality. It's a promise. The connections happen at the institute, and they continue, to happen throughout. And the institute last year did a great job of actually keeping the mentees and mentors connected, really all the way through NACAC, the National
Yeah,
Association of College Admission Counseling, and having the mentees present, portions or parts of their strategic enrollment management plan that they worked on, and then the mentors were able to give them feedback. So not only is it a reality, a promise that happens, it's also, there's also a lot of opportunity to follow up throughout the year to make sure that that plan that you get is actually at a place where it could be instituted, rather than, we go to a lot of conferences, learn a lot of great things, and the next thing you know, it's next year. You know,
yeah, right,
we didn't
right.
implement any of those great things. So it's, the main purpose of this institute is to give people, resources that they can actually apply quickly. And so that's, and from what I can see, that's working.
Well, that's great. I actually didn't know that mentors and mentees were meeting at NACAC. That's really interesting to me. Um,
Yeah.
as a non-enrollment person, I never went to NACAC, so
Right.
it was eye-opening to go this year or last year for the first time. Um, anyway, you sort of touched on it a little bit, but um, what do you think people will get out of attending the institute?
So connections,
Yeah,
a strategic plan, a
right.
mentor, and so really all of the things that we're talking about,
Yeah,
and, and really the ability to take a step back with others, look at the big picture, and start to understand how we can, bring all of the different pieces of the big picture together, in a way that makes sense to us as leaders at our institutions. And again, it's a type of plan, a type of strategy that can follow you and build, and it gets
yeah,
better and better over time, if you will. And so, and then the ongoing connections are real, and so continuing to schedule check-in times with your mentees, with other
yeah.
colleagues that you meet who might not be mentees or mentors, and frequent check-ins about how things are going for them and you, and it really becomes, that really important colleague friendship that develops from the institute.
So as I said, I worked in at a university in the marketing department, and I didn't know that all the enrollment professionals went to NACAC. I didn't even know what NACAC was. This year is the first year that we actually have five tracks at the institute. So there's a marketing track as well. So I'm going to kind of put you on the spot here and ask you,
Sure.
why do you think marketing people should attend the marketing track of the institute?
So, I, kind of about making the connection to NACAC as well too. I've always tried to get the marketing team, members of the marketing team, to go to NACAC as well, to spend time and learn about what types of other resources are out there
Yeah,
that are working very closely with institutions or want to work very closely with institutions. And so, marketing in particular is critical to the work that we do. I think a lot of smaller, in particular, smaller admission offices might have one or two people who are designated, social media marketing roles or other
yep,
types of marketing roles, and then there's a larger marketing department that reports to a different unit, and sometimes that's, the relationship's not as seamless as one would like, and so having marketing involved in a strategic enrollment higher education institute, I think helps build the team, that's needed, whether or not marketing reports to enrollment management or another unit,
Yeah.
so that everyone's on the same page and we're all, thinking about that seamless, relationship and tactical implementation that's really needed in order to ramp up applications that actually of engaged students,
Yeah.
that help us, get all of the communications out from through the admit process to increase yield and so on and so forth. And so it's a critical component of the success of an institution's enrollment.
Yeah. Yeah, and so if you look at the agenda, you can see that it's packed in the morning, but in the afternoon it's an opportunity, especially if an enrollment professional brings their marketing person as well, then they can meet with a mentor, they can just talk about what they've learned that day. And the
Right.
even at a smaller institution, the marketing person would love to be able to spend a day with the
Yeah.
VP of enrollment to just chat, but that never really happens. At the institute, that can really truly happen. So we're pretty excited about the opportunity to bring a bunch of different people to the institute. So anyway, Chris, I really appreciate your time today. The Institute for Strategic Enrollment Management is an awesome thing. You and Patricia have done a great thing for the industry. Having been there, I can see the people who just, it changes them. It moves them along in their career, and it's just such a great opportunity. So thank you for all the work that you do at the Institute. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate the time and questions. Take care.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, if you're interested, you can look at institutehe.org. That's the link, I think, is just below me. Um, take a look at the agenda. There's an emerging enrollment professionals, there's a marketing track, there's a high school guidance counselors track. So this year there is more for everybody. So take a look. institutehe.org. Thanks again for your time, everybody, and have a great week.
Take care, everyone.